For this lecture on auditing, we're going to be talking about the users of external audit reports, or the decision makers and how they use those external audit reports. So your client has hired your CPA firm that you work for to audit the financial statements that they're going to present in their annual report. They're looking for your audit firm to give an opinion and assurance that those financial statements follow generally accepted accounting principles. Because who's going to use that annual report? Well, you've got internal users such as management that could be making operational or financing decisions based on those numbers. It could also affect their performance appraisal and their goals, which could affect their pay. There are external users out there like financial institutions or banks that are very interested in that annual report because they may have loans with your client, or your client has requested that they get a loan from that financial institution. So they want to understand what loan and risk decisions they might be making related to the financial situation or financial position of your client. It's very important. It also may affect the interest rates that that financial institution will charge your client. Now, if your client doesn't want to use a financial institution, they may be issuing bonds or maybe authorizing more stock to be outstanding. Well, there's going to be stock and bond investors out there that will be very interested in that annual report so that they'll be able to make buy or sell decisions about both the stocks and bonds related to your client. You've also got the taxing authorities out there. They're going to be using that information and verifying that information to understand what the taxable income is of your client and ultimately what taxes are owed. You might have regulatory agencies out there like the SEC that are very interested in these reports because they want to make sure that your company is complying with the regulations that they have, and it might affect new regulations that they propose. You've got other external users out there like labor unions. They might use the financial report as part of putting together a collective bargaining agreement. You've got court systems out there that might use that financial information just in case you're in disputes with other companies or former managers or partners within the company. So they're going to assess that financial position of the company related to that litigation. You could also have vendors out there that want to see what your financial health is because they want to make sure that they're dealing with companies that are healthy, and so they're going to assess the credit risk that you have so that they'll know if they should be selling product to you and how much credit they can extend to your client. And finally, you've got retired individuals out there, employees, former employees of the company that have pensions and post-retirement benefits that run through your client, that they want to know what the status is and make sure that they're being protected and their pensions and post-retirement benefits are being protected, or at least they're not going to be surprised by any potential changes that occur related to those benefits. So what do all the users have in common? Well, they all need independent assurance that the financial statements are reliable. The interest of those users may be different than the interests of those that are providing the information, like the managers. So the users should reasonably expect that the audited financial statements are presented fairly and in accordance with GAAP. They need to know that they can count on you as the auditor and as their advocate. They're trying to protect themselves and the financial information from bias. The users want to make sure that management hasn't presented a better impression of the financial position so that management can get some bonus or some other incentive. They're also protecting themselves against remoteness. The users are not involved in the day-to-day activities or may not be located anywhere near the company region to even know what news is going on related to that company. So they rely on the audit to make up for their remoteness and their lack of the direct knowledge of the company's operations. They're also trying to protect themselves from complexity. The users want to make sure that management hasn't confused the current financial position through the use of complexity in information, complex transactions, or even complex processing systems. Finally, consequences. The users rely on the information to make their own economic decisions, which could have significant consequences if the financial statements are not reliable or fraudulent. So I hope this gives you a basic overview of the decision makers and their use of external audit reports.